I'm a sausage guy. Yeah, that butcher shop with the juicy breasts. I like that.
And he doesn't shy away from opinion.
I have always liked Florida State.
And now I do realize why people don't like Florida Gator fans. So if you're going to blow it out, just blow it out. But Shad Khan, the owner, didn't see it that way.
Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
Oh, yeah. Can you feel it? Week 15 of the National Football League, and there is not a better way to kick it off than with Aiden O'Connell against Easton Stick. The Raiders and the Chargers. For what it's worth, this is probably an elimination game in the AFC. Both teams are probably already out, but the loser tonight will definitely be out. The winner will still be on life support. But the Raiders and the Chargers are a few of the have-nots in the AFC. There are certainly a lot of haves in the AFC, which is where I want to begin tonight on a Thursday night on Hacker After Dark. With Dylan Denmark, the Hacker Ryan Green with you. Jacksonville, we are glad you are with us. As yes, Week 15 kicks off in about 15 minutes. For me personally, tonight is all about the fantasy football playoffs. And if you have Justin Herbert or Josh Jacobs or Keenan Allen, my sincerest apologies, because none of those guys are playing tonight. But Devontae Adams is in the lineup, which is good news for guys like me that spent a high draft pick on Devontae Adams 3 months ago. Denmark, in our league, you got the bye, so you're resting comfortably this week. I think if I win this week, I might get you in the semifinals. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Boy, that would be some serious Hacker After Dark bragging rights on the line there. Are you kidding me? But again, you think of the great comebacks in sports, man. You think Florida State, 31-3 in the fourth quarter, coming back to tie Florida. You think of what happened last year, right? Was it the Indianapolis Colts and the Detroit Lions, those two great comebacks that each of those teams had. The Colts coming back against the Chiefs a while back. Well, my 2-6 record through 8 games in the 1010XL Fantasy League, I've rattled off 6 in a row, ladies and gentlemen. I am on a heater as we enter the fantasy football playoffs. Enough about that. Here's what we have for you tonight on a Thursday night on Hacker After Dark. My friend Leon Searcy will join us coming up in less than 15 minutes. You get him every day on prime time. You get him weekly right here on Hacker After Dark as we will preview Baltimore. And I got to tell you, Leon had some pretty passionate thoughts about the Jaguars' home record, things along those lines. I think he'll hit a nerve with some people, which we like. So we'll have Leon Searcy coming up here in less than 15 minutes. Jarrett Bailey of the USA Today later on in the 8 o'clock hour. I do enjoy talking ball with Jarrett, Jaguars, AFC South, and more. So it's all NFL, hour number 1. Leon Searcy and Jarrett Bailey of the USA Today. But as we do every night here on Hacker After Dark, we do kick it off with a big deal of the night and Dylan Denmark. Let's do that right now.
Time now for the big deal of the night.
What's the big deal? What is the big deal?
No big deal.
It is a big deal.
On Hacker After Dark.
All right, so we talk about the haves and the have-nots in the American Football Conference. Here is my thought on where we stand in the AFC right now. I don't believe there's one dominant team. We talked about this briefly earlier in the week. For basically the last 20 years, you can even maybe go back 25 years, it was Tom Brady and the Patriots, right? It was Peyton Manning and the Colts. Patrick Mahomes, obviously, and the Kansas City Chiefs. To a lesser extent, you had some Phillip Rivers years in there, maybe a Lamar Jackson year in there, Peyton Manning and the Broncos, maybe a couple of years. You've always had the one or two dominant teams that going into the middle part of December, with the playoffs about a month away, you said, yep, that's the team that's going to need to be beaten in the AFC. That's the team that I expect to come out of the AFC and go to the Super Bowl. I don't believe you have that this year, right? There are 11 teams in the AFC that are 7-6 or better. There is not one team with a better record than 10-3, which is where Baltimore sits coming in here on Sunday night. Buffalo 7-6. They're getting hot. Huge win in Kansas City, but they are still ravaged by injuries on defense, man. Just ravaged. Josh Allen looks good, but again, I don't trust that Bills defense with all the injuries that they've had. Cincinnati 7-6. They don't have Joe Burrow. Jake Browning has looked fantastic in 2 games, here against Jacksonville and last week against Indianapolis. But do we believe Jake Browning will lead the Bengals to the promised land this year? Denver 7-6. They are maybe the hottest team in the AFC. They've won 6 out of 7. They were awful in the first 2 months. I don't buy Denver. I think they may get in because after this week, their schedule is garbage. I think they play the Chargers, the Raiders, and the Patriots after this week. They should cruise control to 10 wins. So Denver is likely to get one of those wild card spots. But again, I don't know if I buy Russell Wilson leading them on a 3-game winning streak in the AFC playoffs. Houston, number 8, they're interesting, but they're very banged up right now. Tank Dell, rookie wide receiver, out for the year. The Texans' injury report is unbelievable. It's as bad as Jacksonville's, if not worse, and C.J. Stroud hasn't practiced 2 days in a row, which likely means he's going to miss Sundays in concussion protocol, and it will be Davis Mills traveling to Nashville to take on what all of a sudden is a hot Tennessee Titan team. And you see what the Titans are going to do this week? Houston comes in. The Titans are wearing the Houston Oilers throwbacks. Love that. That is fantastic for the Texans and the Titans coming up on Sunday. Those are the teams that currently would not be in the playoffs. Now let's talk about the teams that would currently be in the playoffs. Your 7th seed is Indianapolis. Shane Steichen deserves some credit and deserves some candidacy for Coach of the Year. I don't know how he's done it without Anthony Richardson, and Jonathan Taylor has missed a lot of time. Darius Leonard is now playing for the Philadelphia Eagles. I mean, they've had a lot of turnover, a lot of injuries this year. But Indianapolis at 7-6, albeit impressive. Does anybody really think Indy is going to go and win 3 road games in a row in the AFC playoffs? Your 6th seed right now is Pittsburgh. Same thing. How is Pittsburgh 7-6? What a terrific coaching job by Mike Tomlin. Their quarterback play has been awful, basically all year. Trubisky or Pickett, Pickett or Trubisky, it hasn't mattered. It's been bad, and yet Pittsburgh would be the 6th seed right now in the AFC playoffs. Does anybody envision them winning 3 road games in a row? Your current 5 seed, Cleveland. They just beat Jacksonville. Far be it for us to talk smack about them, yet they have horrible injury problems. They lost 2 guys on defense, Grant Delpit being one of them, for the year in their win last Sunday over Jacksonville. And they have 38-year-old Joe Flacco. Are they going to go on the road 3 times in a row and win playoff games with Joe Flacco? I'm going to skip Jacksonville for a moment. I'll come back there. Your 3 seeds, Kansas City. They can obviously make a run. They have the best quarterback on planet Earth, but they have awful wide receivers. Awful. And they all of a sudden have injury problems, too. Isaiah Pacheco is going to miss his 2nd straight game. Kadarius Toney, who knows where he is mentally after what's transpired this year. Marquez Valdes-Scantling is making weird comments in the locker room. It's just weird in Kansas City. They can obviously do it with Mahomes and Reed and Kelsey and Chris Jones, but this is not the Chiefs team we've seen the last couple of years. Your 2 seed is the Miami Dolphins. They just lost to a 14-point underdog at home on Monday night when they had a 14-point lead with 3 minutes to go. They haven't beaten anybody barely with a winning record this year. I have no confidence that Miami can rattle off 3 games in a row. And then Baltimore. Yeah, they're good. They're the best right now of what's out there. They're 10-3. They would be the 1 seed. They would have home field advantage. And the fact that somebody would have to go into Baltimore to beat them in the playoffs would certainly help them. But when you watch Baltimore, do they look like a dominant team? 37-31 over the Rams last week. Rams put up 300-plus passing yards, 3 touchdowns. I mean, I look at Baltimore, right? You look basically in the last 3 games. 20-10 over the Chargers, 34-20 over Cincy. That was the game Burrow got hurt in. They lost to Cleveland 33-31. They beat Arizona earlier in the year 31-24. The London game against Tennessee, they won 24-16. Look, they're winning games, but am I going to go as far as to call them dominant? No. They are the most dominant of the AFC teams right now, but I'm not scared by Baltimore. I'm a little interested that somebody's going to have to go into their house and beat them most likely, but I think it certainly can be done. And I say all of that for the last 7 minutes to get back to the Jaguars. Man, it's right there. It's right there. Now, the Jaguars are leaking oil. There's no question about that. There's no sugarcoating that. You can't lose to Jake Browning and to Joe Flacco in back-to-back weeks and say all is right with the world. They are certainly leaking oil. But I just named you the 11 AFC teams that are 7-6 or better. On any given Sunday, regular season or playoffs, Jacksonville can beat any of these guys. I mean, are you kidding me? Again, go down the list. Jacksonville, Buffalo. Jacksonville's already beat them. Jacksonville, Cincinnati. I'd love to play those guys again. Jacksonville, Denver. I would take the Jaguars. Jacksonville, Houston. I would take Jacksonville. Jacksonville and Indianapolis. Jacksonville's already swept them. Jacksonville, Pittsburgh. Jacksonville went up to Heinz Field, or whatever they call that thing now, and beat them. Jacksonville, Cleveland. I would take my chances having Cleveland coming in here for a playoff game. Jacksonville, Kansas City. I would pick the Chiefs, but it's not like Jacksonville can't do it. Jacksonville, Miami. I would take the Jags. I think Jacksonville is every bit as good as Miami with a much more experienced head coach. And then Jacksonville, Baltimore, we'll find out on Sunday. 11 teams battling for 7 spots. The AFC playoffs are as wide open as they have been in years. Years. Do I want the number 1 seed? Yes. Is that going to happen? No. The only reason I want it is for the bye. Home field doesn't seem to mean very much here in Duval County. The Jaguars are 2-4 at home. But clearly, Jacksonville can beat any team, and on the flip side, any of these teams can beat Jacksonville. That's the way the AFC is. It is going to be fascinating to see how it plays out. Because for the first time in a long time, there is not going to be an overwhelming favorite when the AFC playoffs arrive in 1 month. 641-1010 is the phone number on the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures. Your thoughts are welcome. Coming up at the bottom of the 8 o'clock hour, Jared Bailey of the USA Today, talking Jags, AFC South, and more. Coming up next, my buddy Leon Searcy, former Pro Bowl offensive tackle for the Jacksonville Jaguars. You get him on prime time. You get him weekly here on Hacker After Dark. Let's preview Baltimore. Let's talk about some of the issues facing this Jaguar football team. Leon Searcy next. Hacker After Dark on a Thursday night in Jacksonville. We're glad you are with us.
Your Jags and the NFL. Jaguars Today. Get personal with your favorite NFL team.
From the Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute studios.
Jaguars Today, every weekday from 10 to noon with Mike Dempsey and Fat Tony on 1010XL.
Right now, save big at Key Buick GMC, like $14,000 off of all new GMC trucks. Rates as low as 0.9% for 36 months, 3.9% for 48 months, 4.9% up to 60 months, and 6.9% APR for 72 months. No payments up to 90 days. As always, whenever you purchase a new vehicle from Key Buick GMC, it comes with the lifetime powertrain warranty. Across the street from Tinseltown, Southside and Gate.
So I have been in the operating room most of my career, watching people have orthopedic surgery, watching people get knees replaced, hips replaced, shoulders fixed, and I knew there had to be a better way.
That's Dr. Daniel Zuckerman, a medical director for QC Kinetics, the nation's leader in non-invasive regenerative treatments for pain relief.
I see so many people who could have been helped before they got to the operating room if only they had known about regenerative medicine.
QC Kinetics, a natural alternative that uses your body's own healing properties to help restore and repair damaged joint tissue, providing long-lasting relief without drugs, surgery, or downtime.
Well, it feels great when I do get to see somebody who we help, who I know I kept out of the operating room. It's amazing how we change people's lives without surgery.
Call QC Kinetics for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 904-274-5522. That's 904-274-5522. 904-274-5522.
Great news for homeowners to start this new year. Interest rates have plunged. Mortgage rates are back down from nosebleed highs. Hey, it's Prosser here, and right now, Loan Pronto can rescue you from that 7 or 8% rate you got stuck with and save you a ton of money. If you bought or refinanced your home with a rate of over 7%, now is the time to refinance and save money, even if you did it last month. Interest rates on Loan Pronto's Equity Express loans have also come down. It's a great time to get some cash out of your home and get yourself on solid footing for the new year. They can get you the cash you need to wipe out those credit cards right now or get money to start that 2024 home improvement project. Bottom line, Loan Pronto has the most competitive rates, and they can help you take advantage of this sudden drop in rates. Get your financial house in order for 2024. Call 904-999-1508 to get started. That's 904-999-1508. LoanPronto.com works as well. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
Having hot water in your home is important for washing dishes, yourself, etc. But if your water isn't consistently nice and hot, it may become more of an issue when your family's over for the holidays.
There's no hot water.
Fix water heater problems with a call to Duck Duck Rooter today. Duck Duck Rooter will come and resolve it so you can enjoy lots of hot water this holiday season. Call 904-862-6769. Visit duckduckrooter.com.
This Date in Sports History is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On December 14, 1938, Major League Baseball agrees on the use of a standard ball while disagreeing on increasing rosters from 23 to 25.
Hi, this is Dave Barker. Multi-unit hair grafting is now available at IHRS and can give you 3 times more hair in one procedure over a traditional hair transplant.
Multi-unit hair grafting gave me more hair in one procedure and within my budget.
You can grow your hair back with this exclusive new procedure. Call for a free evaluation. Call IHRS 904-777-IHRS 777-IHRS 777-4477.
Brackish Vodka, a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars, is the smoothest local vodka you can find. Made right here in Jacksonville, Florida, 100% from corn, Brackish Vodka is the local gluten-free choice. Brackish Vodka, for those that live life slightly salty, a proud partner of the Jaguars. The next time you're looking for Brackish Vodka in Mandarin, look no further than Liquor Masters. Go pick up a bottle today.
Looking for the perfect stocking stuffer? How about the Blue Crab Crab House? Right now, buy a $50 gift card, you get $15 free. $50 gives you an additional $15. Also sign up. The private dining room is available for you. Call them 260-CRAB for all the details. Tuesday through Saturday, 4:30 to 9, Sunday noon to 9, only at the Blue Crab Crab House right off of San Jose, Jointon Creek Road.
Hicken here, the Borland Groover Foundation proudly presents the annual March to Get Screened 5K race and 1 mile fun run. Sunday, April 14th, the race starts at 7 a.m. under the Fuller Warren Bridge. Their mission, raise awareness about colorectal cancer and related deaths. All proceeds benefit the Borland Groover Foundation. It's a nonprofit organization devoted to building a healthy and equitable community that is free from colon cancer. Visit BorlandGrooverFoundation.com for more.
Whether you are looking for a job or an employer trying to hire, there's only one stop in Jacksonville, Remedy Staffing. Labor trends keep us guessing. As employers, the job market has been strong, So what does that mean for workers' availability? If you're interested in the workforce solutions or how the Remedy team can help you, call or text Crystal at 904-329-9802. 329-9802, Remedy Staffing.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Let's ring up another guest on the All-Pro Roofing phone line.
Back here on 1010XL at 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. The Jaguars and the Ravens. Sunday night, Baltimore comes in as an AFC best 10-3. Jacksonville at 8-5. Certainly looking to get back on the winning track. With all that being said, let me welcome in my friend Leon Searcy, former Pro Bowl offensive tackle for the Jacksonville Jaguars. He's with us every week here on Hacker After Dark. Leon, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good, bro.
Leon, you and I talked in the fifth quarter on Sunday. You've now had a few days to analyze where the Jaguars are. Your thoughts on the loss to Cleveland and where they stand overall, 8-5 through 13 games?
Well, the loss in Cleveland was unfortunate. We were dealing with a situation where we had a hampered quarterback. You know, Trevor was. He did play in the game, but he still had pressing issues coming from the game from last week when he hurt his ankle. But I love the grit of the kid to come back. Coming back from a high ankle sprain within 1 week, that's a lot of determination and guts. So, I'm not going. Trevor wasn't 100%, but no one cares. I think this team has to get over the fact that yes, you have injuries at the offensive line. You got injuries with your quarterback. You got injuries with Christian Kirk being out on IR. You got injuries with Travis Etienne with the ribs and all other kind of stuff. But no one cares outside of Jacksonville. This is what this team has to get over. No one cares. You just got to find a way to win a freaking football game. Just one. We're not asking about the next 4 games. All we're asking is that you got to find a way on Sunday night in the bank in Duval and win a freaking football game. Collectively, that's what you got to do. I'm talking about in all aspects of the game. Offense, defense, special team. Just find a freaking way to win a football game because no one believes that you can. Absolutely no one outside of Duval believes that you can get it done. And you've got to get it done. These games are all very impressive. They're like precious metal. Every week, you've got to find a way to win a freaking football game, and it starts with the Baltimore Ravens. And I'm gonna see how this team is going to respond. Are they going to pout and moan and groan about the unfortunate things that have happened to them injury wise, or are they going to buck up and find a way to win a freaking football game?
Leon, do you believe there are? I guess issues is the right word. I don't think it's anything personal, but Calvin Ridley and Trevor Lawrence did not seem to be on the same page last week with a couple of those interceptions. Do you believe there are chemistry issues there?
Well, if they're not on the right page in Week 15, it's both their faults because that's just called professionalism. This thing should have been rectified, 10 weeks ago. You can't tell me going into Week 15 that Trevor Lawrence and Calvin Ridley have got communication problems. You know what you do? You sit in that meeting room. Either Trevor goes in the wide receiver meeting room or Calvin Ridley goes in the quarterback's meeting room, and you rectify it. You make sure you don't have those kind of mistakes anymore because those kind of mistakes cost you ball games. You're talking about 2 of the premier guys on our offense, and they've got communication issues. You got to be kidding me. Listen, in all my years I played for the Jaguars, I've never heard Jimmy and Mark Brunell have communication issues in all the 4 years that I played with them. You know why? Because they was on the same page. They were in sync. They wouldn't allow it. It's called professionalism. Get it done.
You get Leon Searcy every day on Prime Time. You get him weekly here on Hacker After Dark. Leon, that brings me to your former position, the offensive line. Look, injuries are part of the game, but injuries have annihilated the left side of that line. Cam Robinson on IR. We'll have to wait and see where Walker Little is this week. We'll have to wait and see where Ezra Cleveland is this week. It could potentially be Blake Hance, who is essentially your 4th left tackle. The ironic thing, Leon, is that Fortner, Sheriff, and Harrison have been pretty cohesive from center to right tackle, yet the left side has been obliterated with injuries. How much is that affecting how this offense is performing?
Well, I mean, it is. I mean, it is unfortunate, but they got to suck it up. I mean, like I said earlier when we were talking, no one cares. No one cares outside of Duval that they've got issues. You got to, whoever steps in is going to be, whoever's going to be left guard, whoever's going to be left tackle. Okay, that's what we're going to ride with. And whoever we ride with, you got to make sure whoever we ride with comes to work prepared, ready to work, in sync, watching film, working on his technique fundamentals, because we're trying to win a ball game. We're patchwork right now, the offensive line. But you think the Ravens going to care that, we got issues on the left side? No, they're going to try to expose the issues on the left side. You got to make sure that they don't expose it. You got to make sure those guys on that left side play like they've been perennial Pro Bowlers or perennial starters for their whole career, no matter who it is out there. We're trying to win a freaking ball game. Whatever bodies are out there that are going to play Sunday night, they got to get it done. Could be no excuses. You step foot on the bank, on that field, 8:20 p.m. on Sunday, there can be no excuses. You got to get it done, regardless. That's just my take on it.
I appreciate the mindset. Hopefully it's the mindset they have. One of the issues, though, and you and I talked about this last week, is the running game or the lack of running game. They were good running the ball, Leon, the first 2 months of the year. It has really come down in the last couple of weeks. I guess the O-line does have a issue with that, with the injuries. Like you said, nobody cares, but they got to figure out how to get this running game restarted. How do they go about doing that?
Well, running the football is a mindset, Heck. It's an attitude. I mean, it really is. You have to have it set in your mind weeks, days before the game that you're going to run the football. Collectively, as an offensive line, you've got to say, if we can't run the ball, we can't win. That's got to be the mindset. And I've seen the offensive coordinator call plays to kind of get the offensive lines started, but then you can't have tackles for losses. You can't have penetrations. You can't have missed assignments. You can't have guys ducking their head and guys getting around them and making plays. That can't happen, because now you're 2nd and 12 or you're 2nd and 15 or you run the ball again. You're 3rd and long. I mean, that is disruptive to any offensive coordinator's game plan when you're losing yards, and that's all on the O-line. That's just a matter of being tough. Your man don't win. Your man don't make a play. You win. That's got to be the sentiment across the whole offensive line, from the left tackle to the right tackle. I beat my man, we win. That's the bottom line, and I don't see enough of that. I don't see enough of flatbacks, guys coming off the ball. I see the guys standing straight up trying to position block guys. That's not going to work in the NFL. You've got to come off the ball. You've got to be flat back. You got to take the proper steps, the hands, the feet, and everything, and you've got to set the tempo for the very best. You've got to make it a physical ball game, whether your opponent wants one or not. I mean, I just like to see this offensive line just get a lot tougher and meaner, because right now, the sentiment of the Jacksonville offensive line, the inability to run the football, they're being called a finesse offense. No offensive line wants to be called finesse. Until you're able to run the ball at a more consistent nature, that's who you are. Finesse, borderline, SOFT.
Oh, jeez. Yeah. Look, that's the narrative out there. There's no question about it. A couple of more for former Jaguar Pro Bowl offensive tackle Leon Searcy. Leon, let's look big picture. There are some positives. Let's get to a couple of negatives first. They got to win a game at home, man. This is their 4th, what I would call, national showcase game at home this year. They're 0-for. They lost to Kansas City. They got embarrassed by San Francisco. They lose to Cincinnati on Monday night. Now you got Baltimore rolling in. They're staring 2-5 at home in the face if they lose this game. You're supposed to be good at home, Leon. The Jaguars have not been.
Heck, it's an embarrassment, to be quite honest with you. It's a freaking embarrassment to be losing big games at home. When the lights are brightest, this team comes up short. When it's time to shine, they dim the lights. That's what's troubling to me. Because what is the purpose of getting in the playoffs, winning the division, and having a home game where you don't play well at home? That doesn't make any sense. So I mean, we're talking. This is prime time. We had to wait so many years to get in the positions that we've gotten in over the last 3 weeks, Monday Night Football, Sunday Night Football. I mean, it's taken us over a decade to get the opportunity to get in a position where we play in these games and our team comes up short and our team doesn't play well. I mean, that's just unfortunate. It's an embarrassment, to be quite honest with you. I mean, you suppose in all my years of playing football, you took pride in playing at home. You took pride in representing your fans in your city or your county or whatever it may be. And this team has come up short. So what are they going to do? All you got to do is find a way to win one game. That's it. All their energy should be on beating the Ravens at all costs. And right now, what I've seen over the last couple of weeks and them playing in primetime games, and they've come up short. So what's to make me believe there's going to be anything different come Sunday night?
I'm certainly not picking them to win. I said that at the beginning of the week. I'm not going to pick them to win a big home game until they actually do. They're going to have to prove me wrong. On a positive, though, Leon, look, you take a deep breath and you evaluate where you are. They're still the overwhelming favorite in the division. Based on tiebreakers and everything, they essentially have a 2-game lead on Indy, a 1.5-game lead on Houston. Houston now has a lot of injury problems. The sky is not falling. If they just refocus themselves and get back to what they were doing, they should clearly have no problems winning this division.
I agree. I mean, I've never been one to worry about what others do. Even when I played with the Steelers or I played with the Jaguars, I knew if our game was tight, then we had no competition as far as the division went. And we played back in those days, we played in the division with the Ravens, the Steelers, and Titans. So I knew that if we took care of our business, no matter what they were doing, we were going to be good. So I think the Jaguars need to focus on them. Focus on what you need to do right in this 4-game stretch to make sure that you come in as clean and ready to roll in the playoffs. Because right now, they are leaking serious oil right now. They are leaking oil going into these last 4 games. Yeah, they've scored points. Yeah, they have scored points in the last 2 games, but defensively, we suck. We've sucked defensively, giving up big plays, breakdowns in coverage, can't get any pressure on the quarterback. I mean, we lost to Jake Buster Brown and flipping Flacco. The last 2 weeks, bro.
And now Lamar Jackson comes in.
Exactly. So, I mean, they've got to get their stuff together, bro, because I tell you this, I nicknamed him El Boogie for a reason. El Boogie can beat you with his arm and beat you with his legs. So they're going to have to be prepared. You give him the time that you've been given the last 2 quarterbacks over the last 2 weeks, it's going to light you up.
Leon, as we wrap up, the one thing, again, Leon Searcy here with us, the one thing that is really interesting, look, and you can go back 25 years, basically. Brady and the Patriots, Manning and the Colts, Big Ben in Pittsburgh, Patrick Mahomes in Kansas City. You had a Joe Flacco, Baltimore every once in a while, Phillip Rivers, San Diego every once in a while. A dominant team, right? And in the AFC this year, Leon, boy, Miami I thought was exposed Monday night. Kansas City is clearly not what they have been. Jacksonville has fallen back down to earth. Cleveland's got injury problems. Cincinnati's got injury problems. Buffalo is getting better, but they still have problems on defense. Baltimore, I guess, is the most dominant, yet they struggled with a middle-of-the-pack Rams team last week at home. The AFC is absolutely wide open, maybe more so this year than it's been in a long time.
Yeah, that's what frustrates me so much about Jacksonville, because anybody in the AFC can get beat, all right? I mean, there used to be a time where we talked about it in the 5th quarter. This was the Kansas City Chief Invitational, all right? They were the bouncer that used to kick you out the club. You knew that if you wanted to get to the Super Bowl, that you had to go through KC. That's not the case anymore. KC is they leaking oil like us. They got issues with their wide receivers, lining up, dropping balls. You know, you got Patrick Mahomes throwing temper tantrums, all that kind of stuff. So they're exposed a little bit. Like you said, the Ravens seem to be the class of the AFC, but hell, I watched the game a couple of weeks ago where the Steelers beat them. Huh? I mean, come on now. I mean, that's the up and down. That's the disparity of the AFC right now. And if Jacksonville would just get his together, they'll have a shot. It's wide, like you said, the door to Vegas is wide open. And if Jacksonville could just get his stuff together and ride this train on in, not leaking oil and playing some good football, come January, man, they got as good a shot as anybody else. It's like a dice game. They can roll sevens, or they can crap out. That's one. They got to make a decision. It starts right now, come Sunday night against the Ravens.
Yeah, it's going to be a 4-game sprint to the finish, no question. Regardless of what happens, Baltimore and Jacksonville, Leon, Coach Campo, and myself, we're going to go late into the night, early into Monday morning. We will have a fifth quarter, 2 hours after the Jaguars and the Ravens go final. Leon, I've already said I'm picking Baltimore, and I'm picking Baltimore because I'm not picking Jacksonville to win another important home game until they do. They've let me down 3 times. Do you think Jacksonville gets over the top Sunday night?
No, I don't. I'm with you, Hack. I'm not picking them till they show me. I think the Ravens are going to win 27-21.
Mm-hmm. And I hope we're wrong, and I hope we're celebrating on the fifth quarter. Leon, appreciate it, my friend. I will see you very early Monday morning.
You got it.
There you go. You get Leon Searcy every day on Primetime. You also get him weekly right here on Hacker After Dark. And look, Leon and I would both love to be wrong. But, I mean, clearly Jacksonville has not shown the capability of winning a big home game this year. Can they finally do it on Sunday against the AFC's current number 1 seed in the Baltimore Ravens? Week 15 of the National Football League is already underway. Raiders and Chargers. This is the NFL for you. The Raiders lose 3-0 last week to Minnesota. They take their opening offensive drive right down the field, and punch it in for a touchdown. Raiders 7, Chargers 0. Let's see, about 5 minutes to go in the first quarter as the Raiders 7-0. Again, both teams at 5-8. Both teams likely out of the playoffs anyway. The winner of this game still has something to play for, I suppose. The loser of this game can start thinking about the offseason. We're not thinking about the offseason here in Jacksonville. We're thinking about a big one on Sunday against Baltimore. But you look around the division, Houston goes to Tennessee. C.J. Stroud hasn't practiced in the last 2 days. He's in concussion protocol. Tennessee feeling pretty good about themselves after Monday night. You also have a situation up in Indianapolis where they play Pittsburgh, 2 7-6 teams in what is a huge game in the AFC to keep your playoff hopes alive on Saturday. Let's talk Jags, let's talk AFC South, and let's look around the AFC as a whole with Jarrett Bailey. USA Today does a terrific job covering the National Football League, and he joins us next. Hacker After Dark on a Thursday night here in Jacksonville. It's 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Need more Gators?
We've got you covered.
Search 1010XL Florida Gators
where you find podcasts.
or visit 1010XL.com to hear Hicken and Franchi on Mondays and Denny Thompson and Hacker on Wednesdays.
New episodes each week.
Baloo here for Smunez Vision. Why Smunez Vision? Well, I've been with Dr. Neil Smunez now since I got back to Jacksonville in 2006. 37 years of experience he has. Smunez Vision is a family organization that focuses on personal high-quality medical and surgical eye care. Dr. Catherine Smunez is fellowship trained in cornea and cataract surgery and all refractive surgery. Combined, that's 30 years plus in laser eye surgery. Visit SmunezVision.com today. Care you can see.
Hey, it's Carline here for QC Kinetics. Don't go through another year with that awful joint pain. Call QC Kinetics right now and make 2024 the year you are getting back to living normal life again. QC Kinetics can give you your life back. 2 great locations, Mandarin and Ponte Vedra. Give them a call at 904-274-5522. Again,
274-5522. They are the nation's leader in regenerative medicine. These are all natural treatments that can repair and restore that damaged tissue, giving you pain-free movement again. QC Kinetics has tens of thousands of satisfied patients around the country. People who had knee pain, back pain, shoulder pain, who were able to get lasting relief with no surgery, no drugs, and no downtime. Again, Mandarin and Pontevedra. Give them a call, 904-274-5522. That's QC Kinetics, 274-5522.
Golfers, when's the last time you played Cimarron? New ownership, improved greens, fairways, and tee boxes, a new clubhouse, interior, exterior, including the Stone and Barrel Tap House, indoor-outdoor bar, live music. Practice, learn, and play program is only $59 a month. Unlimited range balls, weekly clinic from teaching professionals. Golf every day, $25 after 2 o'clock. Whether you scratch or just like getting out with your buddies, you have to try the new Cimarron Golf Club on 210.
At Charmin, we heard you shouldn't talk about going to the bathroom in public, so we decided to sing about it. When you roll the Charmin Ultra Soft on the party, this is more, so roll it back, everybody. Charmin's irresistibly soft and hella nice. The grip is always soft. It's our party vibe. So our cheeks feel fast. So everybody wanna touch the sky. Charmin Ultra Soft is irresistibly soft and more absorbent, so you can use less. Enjoy the go with Charmin.
Every bowl season has its gems.
Amazing, isn't it?
And you can win $1,000 of jewelry from Beard's Diamonds. Take the Ultimate Bowl Challenge at 1010XL. You'll pick all the bowl games against other 1010XL listeners. Enter at 1010XL.com.
Hacker here, and you know I'm a sausage guy. We all know buying a present for that dude in our life, well, it isn't easy. Give them the gift of meat. You can now buy the Sausage Dude sausage, assorted or single flavors, right from their website. Add sausage to your holiday table this season with the Sausage Dude sausage. Polish, Hungarian, Italian, or beer bratwurst with cheddar and jalapeno, locally owned right here in Duval. Go to thesausagedudes.com today, the official sausage of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Hey, it's Mike Dempsey, and you know how I feel about Pella Windows and Doors. Great design, strongest warranties, and the highest quality products. I even chose Pella Windows for my own home. And whether you're a homeowner replacing windows or building a new home or a trade professional working with clients, I know the design experts at Pella will help your project run smoothly and look great. Visit PellaJacks.com or the Pella showroom on Phillips Highway. That's Pella Windows and Doors.
Time now for a medical recap. A health and wellness tip from Jaguars head team physician, Dr. Kevin Kaplan.
Strength and resistance training are some of the best forms of exercise you can do to strengthen your muscles and improve your body composition. It may also lead to important improvements in metabolic health, meaning your blood sugar levels are easier to manage, and it also increases how many calories you burn at rest. The Physical Activity Guidelines for Americans recommends resistance training twice per week in addition to cardio training. Let's get fit, Jacksonville.
Oh, the holidays. Sitting around the house, sharing stories and relaxing with family. There's nothing like the holidays. Don't ruin your holiday season with a septic emergency. Plan ahead and get your septic tank pumped out now. Duck Duck Rooter Septic Services can be there this week. Go ahead, give Duck Duck Rooter a call and relax.
When you're stuck, call the duck. DuckDuckRooter.com.
Give the gift of joy this season. Players Grill is a Toys for Tots drop-off at all 3 locations. Bring in a toy and enjoy a free appetizer because spreading cheer tastes even better. Players Grill, where the neighborhood meets and gives this holiday season.
Men suffering from ED or PE, you'll see instant results on your first visit at Prime Men's Medical Center. For a limited time, your initial consultation and first treatment are totally free. You'll even get a gift that enhances performance in the bedroom. Call 4-664-8217.
To be our best selves, we need to take care of our whole self. That includes your spirit, mind, and your body. At the First Coast YMCA, our members find balance in spirit, mind, and body with unlimited group exercise classes, adult sports league, health coaching, and programs designed for chronic disease prevention. And when the Jaguars win, you win. We're waiving the joining fee the day after a Jaguars win, all season long. Use promo code DUVAL or visit the First Coast YMCA near you and find your why at fcymca.org.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Let's ring up another guest on the All-Pro Roofing phone line.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville, we are glad you are with us. The Jaguars and the Ravens Sunday night. Of course, you'll hear the game right here on 1010XL. Baltimore comes in at 10-3. Jacksonville comes in at 8-5. Let's talk about the game. Let's also look at what is a jumbled mess right now in the AFC playoff picture with Jared Bailey of the USA Today. He also does some work for Behind the Steel Curtain with the Steelers. We'll tell you about that as well. Jared, how we doing?
I'm doing well, man. Good to be back on with you.
Hey, Jared, always appreciate the time. Before we get started, USA Today, and I know you do some work with Pittsburgh as well.
Yeah. Deputy editor for Behind the Steel Curtain at SB Nation. So any Steelers fans, any work that you want to see done, we've done so much work over there this season. And in terms of, the people that are reading, we've broke records each month over the past 2 months. So we appreciate everybody for reading all the Steelers content from that side as well.
Yeah, Steelers, one of 11 teams in the AFC right now that are 7-6 or better. 2 of those teams also include Jacksonville and Baltimore. Jared, let's start there. First to the Jaguars. Last time you and I talked, the Jaguars were riding a 5-game winning streak and things were going great. They're 2-3 in their last 5, and injuries have certainly caught up with the Jags. What's your thought on Jacksonville at 8-5 right now?
Yeah, I mean, right now the biggest thing that sticks out to me is their pass defense isn't good. The past 2 weeks, Jake Browning and Joe Flacco have looked like Tom Brady and Peyton Manning, and that's a problem. Where, the touchdown pass to Jamar Chase, like they put a corner on him one-on-one that was marginally smaller, didn't really have a whole ton of safety help over the top, and just said, yep, that'll do, and they got bit because of it. So. And not only that, a lot of miscommunications on the back end. Like if you look at the Njoku touchdown, the first of the game against Cleveland, you roll the tape, there's nobody within 15 yards of him. So miscommunications on the back end, weird position alignments and scheming issues that are just leading to big splash plays. And really, like, they don't have any stars in the back end. I mean, we talked before the season started and how that could end up being an issue for them is that, they've got guys that are going to play hard, but at the end of the day, they need a splash guy, and they don't really have that right now outside of Cisco. And that's led to issues that we've seen over the past couple of weeks where Jake Browning lights up the stat sheet for going 32 of 37, I think Jake Browning was. And then Joe Flacco throws 3 touchdowns after being on the couch for the first 10 weeks of the season. Like, those things are things that are going to come back to haunt them. And in terms of, we talk about Jacksonville and the AFC and whatnot and where their positioning is and how legitimate of a Super Bowl threat they are. Well, I mean, if you face Miami in the playoffs and they're at full strength and your pass defense isn't good, Tyreek and Jalen Waddle are going to have a field day. If you face Kansas City again, who you already lost to, where you got to worry about Travis Kelce and everybody, and you faced them in the playoffs last year and Kelce had 14 catches. Like, these are obvious issues on the defensive side of the ball that need addressed. And offensively, like, we haven't seen Calvin Ridley be that, that big addition consistently enough. Christian Kirk now dealing with an injury. Zay Jones isn't exactly, the predominant number 2 guy that you would like to have. So there's issues right now all over the place. Now, Trevor Lawrence can do the best that he can to mask those issues because he's good enough to do that. But when you look at the pass defense and now the lack of pass catching depth, this is the worst time of the season to have those issues kind of come to light.
Yeah, there's no question. Jared Bailey of the USA Today here with us. And look, the Jaguars have flaws, no question. The one thing that I will say, if I'm looking for any silver lining, Jacksonville was terrible on Sunday against Cleveland. They were awful. I mean, they turned the ball over 4 times. As you said, Njoku could have fair caught 2 touchdowns. I mean, miscommunications all over the place. And having said that, Jared, it was 31-27 with an onside kick with 1:40 to go. So if there is any silver lining in that the Jaguars played awful, and yet on the road where Cleveland was 5-1 and now 6-1, they kept it a ball game up until 90 seconds to go in the game.
And that's the thing. Whenever you've got number 16 under center, even when he's not at 100%, even when there's miscommunications on offense as well that leads to turnovers, you're still in the game. And that is, if there is any silver lining, having a great quarterback can mask a lot of things. And Jacksonville has the benefit of finally having one where, if you got Trevor Lawrence, you've got a chance. And you look at, the interceptions that he did throw, like Martin Emerson just had a really good game for Cleveland. There was one in which Trevor overthrew, I think it was Ridley on one of the interceptions. Then the other one was a miscommunication on a slant, an in-breaker with Ridley where he threw it behind him thinking that Ridley would stop. So it's just little things like that could have made or broken the game. One of those was in good scoring position too. So if that interception doesn't take place, if the communication's a little bit better, they might come away with points there. They might score a touchdown. And we're talking about, Trevor Lawrence overcoming 2 interceptions and winning a game on a sprained ankle. And we're having a very different conversation. So I ultimately think they'll be fine, especially when you look at the rest of the division where, Indy just lost to Cincinnati. Houston's fun, but they're also dealing with Tank Dell no longer being there. So, and they just lost to the Jets. So they're still going to win the AFC South, if I had to guess right now. They're still going to host a playoff game. They can probably win that playoff game. And, we'll see how far they can go. But those are, obvious issues that do need addressed before we get to that point.
Jared, Baltimore comes in here on Sunday, and of all the teams in the AFC, they're the ones to this point to not show very many flaws. I think you can look at Miami, Kansas City, Jacksonville, on down the line, Buffalo, Cincinnati, Cleveland, you name it. There are flaws. There are issues. With Baltimore, they're good. I mean, I watched them on Sunday against the Rams, and the Rams are a good NFC team, an average NFC team. And I was not impressed with the Baltimore defense. Now, the offense was spectacular. Special teams was very good. But I do wonder about this Raven defense moving in to the latter stages of the regular season. I think it'll be a very interesting game for Jacksonville to gauge where they are against Baltimore on Sunday night.
Yeah, I think it will too. In terms of the defense, you got to give credit to Sean McVay and the Rams offense and Matthew Stafford for having their best game of the season offensively. In terms of Baltimore offensively, when we talk about the elite of the AFC and whatnot, I talked about this on my podcast, The Pump Fake, this past week, in terms of teams that, they're probably going to make the playoffs. They might win a playoff game. I don't see Baltimore as a Super Bowl contender. Like, Lamar Jackson's great. We know how good of a coach Harbaugh is and whatnot, but who are their weapons? Like, I like Zay Flowers, but if he's your predominant weapon and you're, leaning on him heavily to defeat Kansas City, if Buffalo gets in, Miami, like, you got to do better than that. And who's your number 2? Is it going to be Odell Beckham at this point in his career, who has had a few flashes, but he hasn't been like a legitimate top tier receiver in quite some time, probably since his final year with the Giants. So I don't think that they have the horses offensively to compete with a team like a Miami if they face them. If I'm a Kansas City, like, the Chiefs defense is far too good for any of the Ravens weapons to really excel. So they don't worry me against Kansas City. I think that this will be a good test for the Jaguars defense just to see how they can stack up against this, more than subpar skill position group of Baltimore. Defensively, they've had a really good season. Mike Macdonald has made the absolute most of this defensive core. And they don't have stars on that side of the ball really either, outside of Roquan Smith. Like, Justin Madubuike has had a breakout season and he's about to get paid. They've utilized guys like Kyle Van Noy, who they signed this season. Jadeveon Clowney has been a big part of it. So, like, they don't have like big game breaking names per se, but they're getting the most out of the personnel that they have. And that's a credit to Mike Macdonald, the defensive coordinator. For Jacksonville, this feels like a game that they really need to win to avoid losing 3 straight. And for Baltimore, I mean, they're coming off a high of winning on a punt return in overtime. They're sitting at 10-3. I do think that Jacksonville wins simply because of, somewhat of a desperation factor. Not that if they lose that their season's done. Obviously, that's not the case. But you don't want to lose 3 straight in December, when you're gearing up for a playoff run. So I think that we're going to see the very best of Jacksonville. And I do think that, we're going to see their defenders, especially the guys on the front seven that they really count on. If you can get pressure on Lamar Jackson, if you can force mistakes, which we've seen teams that are capable of doing. We saw the Colts do it earlier this season. If you can get pressure on Lamar, if you can force them to make mistakes, then your chances get exponentially higher of winning, and I think that Jacksonville can do that.
Jared Bailey of the USA Today. Jaguar fans will love to hear that. I got to tell you, I'm not going to pick Jacksonville to win a primetime home game again until they do it, because they lost to San Francisco. They lost a national showcase game to KC. They got embarrassed by Cincinnati. They're 0-for in the, quote, showcase home games this year. You got another one against Baltimore. They got to prove it to me before I'll pick them again. Let me do a broad AFC talk with you, Jarrett. All right, so right now, and it's been this way now for a few weeks, Baltimore, Miami, Kansas City, Jacksonville are the division leaders. Is there a scenario right now where you think one or two of those four will not win their division when all is said and done?
I think that Miami is the one that strikes me as the one that's most likely to not win the division out of all of them. I mean, first of all, how about the collapse that we just saw from the Dolphins against Tennessee? That was certainly something. And now, like, you can look at that as a Dolphins fan and say, oh, man, that's one that got away, but, you know, we're still sitting at the top of the division. Well, guess what? You got games against Dallas and Baltimore in 2 of the next 3 weeks. Dallas and Baltimore back-to-back. They have the Jets this coming week, which is a game that they should win. But then it's the Cowboys and the Ravens. If you drop both of those games and Buffalo continues to run the table, guess what? Week 18 in Miami against the Bills is for the division. So that is a very real case scenario that takes place. If you're the Miami Dolphins, even if they only lose, like, let's say that they beat Dallas, beat the Jets, but lose to Baltimore, well, you have 5 losses now, and if the Bills keep winning, they have 6. Then you lose the tiebreaker in the division. So their margin for error just got much smaller, and they're going to need some help from the Cowboys, and they're going to have to rely on a Chargers team that's going to be starting Easton Stick to beat the Bills, and they have to hope that Bailey Zappi can beat the Bills in that case too, which I don't think that's going to happen. So the margin for error for Miami just got much smaller because they couldn't hold a 14-point lead with less than 3 minutes left against a bad Titans team, and that could be a game that really comes back to bite them in the butt. And if that does happen, then we could see Bills Dolphins in consecutive weeks in week 18 and the wild card round, except instead of being in Miami, it'll be in Buffalo for the wild card round. And we know how good Josh Allen is against the Dolphins in Buffalo. So there's, in terms of like all the scenarios where we could see one of the division leaders not end up winning the division, I think that's the most likely one to happen, because you look at the AFC North, the Steelers aren't good. The Browns are fun. Like, I enjoy what the Browns are doing, but I don't think they're going to be good enough to catch Baltimore. Jake Browning is also a very fun story. Don't think Cincinnati's catching Baltimore. For like as good as this run that the Broncos have been on, like, I don't think that there's enough power there for them to catch Denver either, or to catch Kansas City, even though they're only a game back. I do think that Kansas City will, kind of get their collective stuff together and still win the division. So, and then in the AFC South, I already talked about it. Like, I don't think that Gardner Minshew is going to power the Colts to an AFC South title. And I think that the loss of Tank Dell really hurts the Texans' offense and chances of getting that done as well. So I think Miami and the AFC East is the one to look at where they could, I don't want to say crumble, but, could end up, having one of those costly losses that ends up biting them in the butt. And rather than hosting a wild card game, they have to travel on the road to a place that they haven't really been successful in the past half decade or so. And that could really turn the events of their season.
Final moments, Jared Bailey, USA Today. So if we assume right now that the 4 division leaders are at least safe for playoff spots, that's Jacksonville, KC, Miami, and Baltimore, that leaves 3 spots up for grabs for 7 teams that are all either 7-6 or 8-5, which is insane. Who do you think at this point are the 3 best non-division winners that will get in?
In terms of what I think will happen in the wild card, I mean, Cleveland has 8 wins right now, and they're playing really well. Like, Joe Flacco's come in, and they're playing the best offensive football they've played all year. So I think that Cleveland gets a wild card spot. I do think that Buffalo gets in. Beating Kansas City really just put a lot of life back into their playoff odds. And I just ran down the quarterbacks that they're going to be playing. Yes, they play Dallas this week. That's a game that I think that they can and will win at home. And then you face Easton Stick and Bailey Zappi in the next 2 weeks. And then if they can get to 10 wins, I think that they're a pretty solid bet to at least get one of these spots. And then it really comes down to, okay, is Denver going to keep rolling and be able to get to 9 or 10? I don't think it's going to be Pittsburgh, simply because I just think that the morale in Pittsburgh is just way too low right now in terms of the locker room, all the chaos of this season, veterans calling out young players. Like, it's just a complete total mess with the Steelers right now. So I don't think they end up getting in. If I had to say anybody for that 7th seed right now, I'd probably say Denver, just because I trust Sean Payton and Russell Wilson more than I would trust a Jake Browning to keep doing this, or more than I trust a Gardner Minshew to keep the Colts season alive. I think Houston is also a team to watch for. So I think it'll come down to Houston and Denver. And if that's the case, then Houston would get in, I believe, over having the conference record and tiebreaker. So if I had to bet now, I say Cleveland, Buffalo, and then hesitantly picking between the Texans and Broncos, I would say Houston.
It's going to be a wild finish, no question about it. Hard to believe we still have a month to go in the regular season. There is a ton of football left. Jared Bailey of the USA Today. Jared, if I don't talk to you beforehand, have a happy holidays, happy New Year, and I'm sure we'll be dialing your phone closer to playoff time.
Hey, same to you, man. Absolutely. I appreciate it.
It's a natural fit.
Helmets and Heels.
Who's in? Yes, it's us.
With Lauren, Taylor, and Mia. Driven by Tire Outlet.
And presented by Underwood Jewelers.
And First Coast Lighting and Fans. Tuesday nights at 6 on 1010XL.
Rick Ballou for Carlson Dental. You know, I've been telling you this for quite some time because it's true. I hate going to the dentist, or at least I used to hate going to the dentist. I had total anxiety, and then I tried sedation. Light sedation for cleaning and deep sedation as well for cavities and root canals. Folks, it's an incredible experience. So don't be nervous. Don't be scared. Go to CarlsonDentalGroup.com. That's CarlsonDentalGroup.com for all of your dental needs.
At ABBQ, they are turning up the heat on game day with a spread that'll make your taste buds do a victory dance. Football and barbecue always play together. I'm talking mouthwatering wings, juicy burgers, and tantalizing appetizers that'll keep your hunger in check as you cheer for your team. Come for the food and football, and stay for the teal-colored Jell-O shots, your destination for mouthwatering barbecue and an unforgettable game day. ABBQ, meet and drink with us.
Hi, this is Dave Barker. Want to grow your hair back?
IHRS, right here in Jacksonville, is the only hair transplant clinic in the Southeast to offer multi-unit hair grafting and the 45-minute PRP treatments. Grow your hair back. Call now for a free in-person evaluation. 904-777-IHRS, 904-777-4477, or visit hairforme.com.
Great news for homeowners to start this new year. Interest rates have plunged. Mortgage rates are back down from nosebleed highs. Hey, it's Prosser here, and right now, Loan Pronto can rescue you from that 7 or 8% rate you got stuck with and save you a ton of money. If you bought or refinanced your home with a rate of over 7%, now is the time to refinance and save money, even if you did it last month. Interest rates on Loan Pronto's Equity Express loans have also come down. It's a great time to get some cash out of your home and get yourself on solid footing for the new year. They can get you the cash you need to wipe out those credit cards right now, or get money to start that 2024 home improvement project. Bottom line, Loan Pronto has the most competitive rates, and they can help you take advantage of this sudden drop in rates. Get your financial house in order for 2024. Call 904-999-1508 to get started. That's 904-999-1508. LoanPronto.com works as well. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Hey, it's Carline here for QC Kinetics. Don't go through another year with that awful joint pain. Call QC Kinetics right now and make 2024 the year you are getting back to living normal life again. QC Kinetics can give you your life back. 2 great locations, Mandarin and Ponte Vedra. Give them a call at 904-274-5522. Again, 274-5522. They are the nation's leader in regenerative medicine. These are all natural treatments that can repair and restore that damaged tissue, giving you pain-free movement again. QC Kinetics has tens of thousands of satisfied patients around the country. People who had knee pain, back pain, shoulder pain, who were able to get lasting relief with no surgery, no drugs, and no downtime. Again, Mandarin and Ponte Vedra. Give them a call, 904-274-5522. That's QC Kinetics, 274-5522.
Visionaries, builders, and doers. Are you ready to change the world? Miller Electric is your opportunity to shape the future. Miller Electric is leading the charge in electric vehicle technology with our state-of-the-art EV Innovation Design Center. We're working to create a sustainable future. We're also the proud partners of the Jacksonville Jaguars, powering their performance at the brand new Miller Electric Center. Miller Electric, we provide competitive pay, unbeatable benefits. Apply today. MillerCareers.com. Miller Electric, an equal opportunity employer.
Are you looking for durable, longer-lasting siding? LP SmartSide Trim and Siding is made from engineered wood that features durability and strength, thanks to a process called SmartGuard. This process treats every SmartSide product to the core, with waxes, resins, and zinc borate, and adds an overlay to the product, which helps LP SmartSide Trim and Siding withstand moisture, hail, humidity, and helps provide resistance against termites and fungal decay. Visit your local 84 Lumber to learn more.
Hey gang, Prosser here. Sometimes we have partners at the radio station that are trying to get their message out, and sometimes it hits my ears just perfectly. And that's the deal with this Prize Picks. Have you tried this daily fantasy sports yet? It's so cool. It's so different. You pick between 2 and 6 players. They have a projected stat total, simple as pie. You just got to pick whether they go over or under that statistical projection. It is cool, man. I've been doing it almost every day. You can play NFL, you can play NBA, you can play Major League Baseball. You can go any way that you want. And it's so easy to be a part of. And right now, I'm going to give you a good deal. Go to prizepicks.com/1010XL and use code 1010XL. You'll get a first deposit match of up to $100. prizepicks.com/1010XL. Use code 1010XL for a first deposit match of up to $100. This is daily fantasy sports done different. You're going to love it. Take it from me. Go to prizepicks.com today.
At the First Coast YMCA, you'll find much more than just a gym. We offer many ways to help you be active, reach weight loss goals, and find your inner strength while you connect with your community. Family memberships at the Y include unlimited group exercise classes, childcare while you work out, and youth sports participation. It's easy to join the Y and affordable for all. Plus, the Y is a great place to meet a new circle of friends. Visit the Y near you or online at fcymca.org.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
That's right. With you till 10 o'clock tonight. 1010XL, 92.5 FM. Boy, we got a blowout Thursday night football. Raiders 21-0 over the Chargers. Brandon Staley at this rate might get fired tomorrow. The Chargers are pathetic right now. Zamir White, a 1-yard touchdown. Tell me if you had Trey Tucker in your fantasy lineup tonight. He caught a touchdown for the Raiders, as did Jacoby Myers. We're early in the second quarter. Raiders 21, Chargers nothing. Coming up in the 9 o'clock hour, Brian Sexton, Jaguars.com. We'll stop by at the bottom of the hour. Coming up next, Mike Huguenin. I call him a college football encyclopedia, man. He's covered college football for years. Quickly, Denmark, we got like 60 seconds. Florida State media fans, they've had their say, right? They're upset. They've gotten it all out. But the reality is they're not in the playoff. All of this talk about lawsuits and Congress getting involved and demanding the Orange Bowl all of a sudden become a playoff game this year, this isn't doing them any good, right? It's becoming overkill at this point, correct?
I don't think it matters. It's just media talk. I don't think it – it was like, remember the Saints a couple years ago with that bad PI call, and they wanted to take it to Supreme Court? And
they actually got an NFL rule changed because of that call.
Yeah, but that didn't affect the game. Remember, they wanted to do this and that, like replay the last couple minutes of the game. Like, it is what it is. It's over. I'm over it. Moved on. Play the Orange Bowl. Whoever's playing's playing.
It's a shame the Orange Bowl is going to be two teams that we cover that have a combined 25-1 record that I'm not sure if anybody even cares about the game. Georgia and Florida State coming up at the end of the month. We'll talk college football. We'll talk transfer portal. We'll talk Florida and Florida State as well. Mike Huguenin's covered the game for years. He joins us next. Hacker After Dark on a Thursday here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Evan Ingram in the right corner.
corner, and Jacksonville is in the end zone.
I love how he's playing. I feel like we're doing some things well, and we got to keep expanding on that and getting better.
The ball comes out, and I think Jacksonville has it.
It's the next man up mentality, right? So we move forward.
You needed a takeaway.
We're going to have accountability. We know what we have to do, and we have to get better, all of us. We'll fix it.
The road to the postseason leads back to the bank.
That's what you want.
It's a Sunday night special.
Get back on track.
Jaguars, Ravens, on the home of the Jaguars. 1010XL.
The Jaguars are in the home stretch of the regular season as they go head-to-head with the Baltimore Ravens December 17th. This Sunday night football matchup is sure to excite as you help us teal out the stands. It's also our Inspire Change game, where fans can learn about our involvement in police community relations, criminal justice reform, and more. Go to jaguars.com/tickets or call 904-633-2000. We'll see you for Sunday night football, Jaguars fans.
Are you ready for the ultimate happy hour experience? Look no further than Bellwether, downtown's undisputed champion of good times. It's Tuesday through Saturday from 4 to 7 p, with the exception on Friday when happy hour starts at 11 a.m. Rally the team and head over to Bellwether. The vibe is full and the food is unbeatable. Free parking after 6 p on weekdays and all weekend. Bellwether Restaurant, where great food and the best happy hour in town come together for an epic win.
Men suffering from erectile dysfunction or PE? Frustrated taking pills that don't work? Here's a message from Prime Men's Medical Center.
I'm Dr. Simovitz. Prime Men's Medical Center offers breakthrough treatments with men lasting longer than ever without pain or surgery.
Call now. Your consultation and first treatment are free. You'll see instant results right in the office. Call Prime Men's Medical Center now. 904-664-8217. That's 904-664-8217.
Great news for homeowners to start this new year. Interest rates have plunged. Mortgage rates are back down from nosebleed highs. Hey, it's Prosser here, and right now, Loan Pronto can rescue you from that 7 or 8% rate you got stuck with and save you a ton of money. If you bought or refinanced your home with a rate of over 7%, now is the time to refinance and save money, even if you did it last month. Interest rates on Loan Pronto's Equity Express loans have also come down. It's a great time to get some cash out of your home and get yourself on solid footing for the new year. They can get you the cash you need to wipe out those credit cards right now or get money to start that 2024 home improvement project. Bottom line, Loan Pronto has the most competitive rates, and they can help you take advantage of this sudden drop in rates. Get your financial house in order for 2024. Call 904-999-1508 to get started. That's 904-999-1508. LoanPronto.com works as well. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
This Date in Sports History is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On December 14, 1938, Major League Baseball agrees on the use of a standard ball while disagreeing on increasing rosters from 23 to 25.
For the ones who get it done, the most important part is the one you need now, and the best partner is the one who can deliver. That's why millions of maintenance and repair pros trust Grainger, because we have professional-grade supplies for every industry, even hard-to-find products. And we have same-day pickup and next-day delivery on most orders. But most importantly, we have an unwavering commitment to help keep you up and running. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hey, Jacksonville, I'm sure by now you've seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We are an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We are committed to customer service, reliability, and have unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today. GFL, green for life.
Hey folks, Mike Dempsey here. You've heard me talking about Pella Windows and Doors. With great ratings and expert reviews, you know they're high quality and energy efficient products. So what's your next step? Schedule a free consultation at PellaJacks.com or just stop by the Pella showroom on Phillips Highway. Their professional design consultants will guide you through your entire project from start to finish. And that's the quality and service you can expect from Pella Windows and Doors.
Here's Linda Beaver.
Have you heard? Beaver Toyota and Beaver Chevrolet are attempting to sell 2,000 vehicles this December. How? I've instructed my team to take all reasonable offers. We won't lose your business over price. We have thousands of cars, trucks, and SUVs on the ground and priced to sell. We guarantee the most money for your trade and the easiest car buying experience ever. I promise we ain't leaving nothing on the table. At Beaver Toyota in St. Augustine or Beaver Chevrolet in Jacksonville, we're here to wow you.
Golfers, when's the last time you played Cimarron? New ownership, improved greens, fairways, and tee boxes, a new clubhouse, interior, exterior, including the Stone and Barrel Tap House, indoor-outdoor bar, live music. Practice, learn, and play program is only $59 a month. Unlimited range balls, weekly clinic from teaching professionals. Golf every day, $25 after 2 o'clock. Whether you scratch or just like getting out with your buddies, you have to try the new Cimarron Golf Club on 210.
Are you suffering from shoulder pain? If you have clicking and popping in the shoulder joint, persistent pain that intensifies with use, an inability to lift your arm over your head, or a tingling, burning sensation in the shoulder, elbow, or wrist, waiting to see a doctor could make your injury worse. Baptist Health and Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute have innovative and effective treatment options available right now to relieve your pain and restore your mobility. Don't wait. Call 904-JOI-2000.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Let's ring up another guest on the All-Pro Roofing phone line.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. Bowl season on the horizon. In fact, I think 5 or 6 bowl games kick off this Saturday. Obviously, there's a lot of meat still on the bone when it comes to Florida State and that whole saga. What on earth is going on in Gainesville with the Gators and the transfer portal? There's a ton to get into with that. Let me go to who I call the college football encyclopedia. My buddy Mike Huguenin has covered college football for years, and he's always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. Mike, how you doing?
Doing quite well. Trying to get through this weird cold snap in Florida. You wonder what the heck's going on when it's cold in Florida.
Yeah, I had to take my son to preschool, and it was 42 degrees a couple of mornings ago. It was very, very cold. That's why I'm happy I'm in Florida. We don't have to deal with that too much of the time. What we have had to deal with, Mike, is a lot of drama surrounding Florida and Florida State. Let's begin with the Gators. Oh, boy. Last time you and I talked, Florida was on the verge of making a bowl game. They did not win again the entire year. Now they have fired defensive coaches. They have their best players entering the transfer portal. Mike, what do you make of what's going on in Gainesville right now?
Yeah, it's a program obviously that's not doesn't have a stable foundation. I think part of that goes back to Mullen. Part of it though can be laid at the feet of Billy Napier and his staff. Changing the 2 defensive coaches, those were considered coups when he hired them. Sean Spencer and Corey Raymond. The secondary has not played well the last 2 years, frankly, the last 5 or 6 years. The defensive line had a lot of young guys, and I was a little bit surprised that Spencer was told to leave or, was fired, I guess. I still think there's some changes that need to be made on the offensive side, and if I'm a Florida fan, I'm incredulous that nothing has been done about special teams. Special teams were an adventure, frankly, in every single game, and that's not a way to win football games. So I think there are some more coaching changes coming in Gainesville. I think the ETN loss is big but not huge because I think running backs in college football are a lot like running backs in the NFL. There's a lot of them. And as long as you have a good offensive line, everything is fine with the running backs. Now, that obviously leads to Florida's got to improve its offensive line. I think the UManly Allen loss is, frankly, bigger than the ETN loss. I think UManly Allen, for a team that did not get much pressure on the quarterback, UManly Allen did a pretty good job of that. He didn't maybe always set the edges quite as well as he should have. I think that comes with even more experience and maybe some scheme issues. But the recruiting class, if it stays together, it's going to be a good one. If it doesn't stay together, that's bad news for Napier. And obviously, you look at next year's schedule, it's a monster. And I fully think that Napier is coaching for his job next year. But, Florida is now in the mode where a lot of the not a lot, but there's a vocal majority of the fan base, they were mad at Napier in year one. They're furious at Napier in year two, and it's going to be nasty next year if Florida struggles early when they play Miami and UCF. So, it's certainly not calm waters in Gainesville, rather turbulent. He's got to do a good job in the portal, get some dudes in who can play right away, and he needs to keep the recruiting class together as much as it can be kept together.
Mike Huguenin here with us on 1010XL in Jacksonville. It's interesting what you said about ETN, because when that happened late last week, I had people texting me that thought the sky was falling. They could not believe ETN was entering the portal. I agree with you, with Uman Mielen and then Chris McClellan as well, two monsters on the D-line transferring may be a bigger deal. And in the court of public opinion, Mike, PR-wise, if you will, it is not a good look when arguably three of your top 8 or 9 returning guys in 2024 have opted for greener pastures elsewhere.
Exactly, and I think, you see ETN, there were rumblings all season he was not pleased with the offense. Well, I don't think anybody, frankly, was pleased with the offense. But the idea that, he wants to go somewhere where he's going to get more carries. Well, two of the spots, LSU, yeah, he would get more carries there. But I've seen Georgia, and I'm thinking, has anybody in the ETN camp watched Georgia play the last couple of years? They share carries too. So, ETN going to LSU makes sense. He is a Louisiana kid. The NIL is available there. But again, I think it's, NIL finances are finite, and each school needs to choose how it uses its NIL resources, and certain positions are worth more than others. And I would argue that running back is, fourth on the list. I think offensive linemen bring a lot of money, quarterbacks and defensive linemen. So to me, ETN is a loss, like you said. But if I'm a Florida fan or a Florida coach, the idea that if I'm going to lose Trey Wilson or ETN, I would lose ETN 10 out of 10 times compared to Trey.
Mike, the Florida State saga. It's been over a week since Florida State was left out of the playoff. Florida State fans are still very, very unhappy about that. Your reaction to what happened to Florida State being left out of the playoff?
Yeah, surprised. You can't do more than you're asked to do, and by that I mean they had 13 games, they won all 13. Was the schedule super hard? No, but they won all 13 games. Are they as good as they were when Jordan Travis was the quarterback? No, but they won all 13 games, and who knows how well they could have been with a month of prep time with Rodemaker. Rodemaker basically went from not playing at all to, okay, he's got to play against North Alabama. Then he plays the next week and gets hurt. Then he plays against Florida and gets hurt. They realize after the game he had a concussion, and then they go to the third-string quarterback, Brock Glenn. Well, Brock Glenn wasn't going to play in the playoff. Rodemaker would have been back. So, but again, the defense is national title caliber defense. The offense on paper is not, but the game isn't played on paper, and it certainly would have been extremely interesting to see what would have happened had Alabama lost to Auburn and then beaten Georgia. I think in that situation, Florida State would have been in, and I also think Texas would have been in. I think the SEC would have been out. So, again, do I think Michigan Alabama will be a better game than Michigan FSU would have been? Yes, I think that, but I certainly don't know that, and no one knows that. And I think that's the issue, that if I'm a Florida State fan, I'm still irked a week later. Actually, I'd be far more than irked. I just can't use the word on the radio because it'll get you in trouble. But, on the game's not played on paper, and I get some of the explanation from the committee. But I will say this. One guy I feel really sorry for is Boo Corrigan, the selection committee spokesman. He is a ACC athletic director. In his heart of hearts, he wanted Florida State in, if for no other reason than the financial aspect of having an ACC team in the playoff. But instead, I don't care what business you're in, if you've been in a business situation where there's a committee approach, you know that not everybody agrees on every single step. So my assumption is that Boo Corrigan probably would have wanted FSU in the playoff, but because he was a spokesman, he had to put on a brave face and go out there and say, this is why Florida State wasn't picked. It was a no-win situation for him. Sort of feel bad for him. But, yeah, I'm still a week later surprised that FSU did not get in.
Final moments here with Mike Hugan. And, Mike, the interesting thing from our standpoint, look, we cover Miami, Florida, Florida State, and Georgia the most. We got a game in the Orange Bowl putting two teams with a combined record of 25-1 with Georgia and Florida State, and I'm not sure if anybody cares.
That's the problem with the playoff system. From the very first week, everything is about – you got people doing mock playoffs preseason, week 1, week 2, and the I think obviously the interest in college football is there, but once it gets to the postseason, there is no interest outside the two playoff games. And you used to be able to count on, well, some of these group of 5 schools, these are 2 good teams. They're going to be jacked up and ready to play. Well, look at the MAC title game. Toledo lost to Miami of Ohio. Last Monday, the Miami of Ohio quarterback and the Toledo quarterback entered the transfer portal. So you're like, are they even going to play in their respective bowl games? And my response would be, why would you? Because you want to be healthy for your new school to be able to go through spring practice. And as good as Florida State, Georgia is on paper, that's a fascinating game. It's like you said, 25-1, and 2 teams that had legitimate cases to still be in the playoff. How many guys are going to opt out? If I'm Jared Verse, I want to play against Georgia, but I'm also a first-round pick. Do I want to risk injury? And for everybody who says, well, you need to play for your teammates, I have one name for you, Jalen Smith. The former Notre Dame linebacker, was going to be a first-round pick, probably a top 15 guy, blew out his knee in the bowl game, which didn't mean anything. Ended up going in the second round. Yes, he played 5 or 6 years in the NFL, but he had potential generational wealth basically disappear in the time it takes to have one play in a college football game. So my assumption is there's going to be some FSU and Georgia players who do not play. Now, on the other hand, Carson Beck's playing and Rodemaker's playing, so that does add some intrigue. But these are not going to be the Florida State and Georgia teams that would have played in the playoffs.
Mike, what's your early thought on the playoff, the 4 teams that got in? Who do you like?
I've been on the Washington train since the preseason. I'm on the Washington train now, still. I think Michael Penix, I know he finished second in the Heisman. He seems to play at his best in big games. I trust him more than I trust Quinn Ewers. And if Penix gets to the final, he's a lot better than Milroe, and he's a lot better than J.J. McCarthy. Now, Washington does have the weakest defense of the 4, but they also have, to me, the most explosive offense because they got that receiving core is phenomenal. Dylan Johnson is a good running back, and I think Penix is a special talent. So I'm sticking with Washington.
Mike, as we wrap up, you mentioned it earlier, the transfer portal. I believe the last number was in excess of 2,500 people are in the portal, which is insane. Look, I get, giving players a choice and NIL and where we are now, but the transfer portal in particular, is it doing what college football wanted it to do, or is it destroying the sport?
I don't know. It's not destroying the sport. And I think people forget, go to a college campus, there were only 5 sports offered by the NCAA in which a transfer did not have immediate eligibility. So if I'm Billy Napier, I can walk across the campus and talk to Florida softball coach Tim Walton about, hey, you've had to deal with transfers like this for your whole coaching career. I remember a couple of years ago, Oklahoma won the national softball title with a pitcher who transferred in January. The season starts in February. So other sports have had to deal with this forever. It's only when football and basketball coaches get involved that you hear all the whining. And isn't it interesting that the football and basketball coaches are the highest paid coaches on campus by far. They're the ones who are whining. The golf coaches, the tennis coaches, the track coaches, the softball coaches, the soccer coaches are probably going, you guys need to be quiet. We've been dealing with this for decades. So, and I'm also a big believer in the portal. If when I was a college student, had I wanted to, I could have gone to 4 colleges in 4 years. So I got no problem with the portal. I think it will eventually. This is the second year of the window. I think it will calm down maybe 3 or 4 years into it, which would mean 1 or 2 years from now, probably 2 years from now. But, you know, I'm all for giving players opportunities. I get the fact that, I'm a G5 coach and my stud player left. Well, you know, I mentioned Toledo earlier. Their star defensive lineman was a Penn State transfer. Their best linebacker, an all-MAC guy, was an Ohio State transfer. So the transfers work both ways. The aggravating aspect, even to me, is the way that NIL has been misused. It was never supposed to be pay for play, but from the moment it went into effect, it became pay for play. And instead of blaming players, instead of blaming coaches, instead of blaming boosters, blame the NCAA. They had a decade to plan for this, and of course they threw up their hands and goes, oh my God, we need help from Congress. And if you're asking for help for Congress, you got big time issues, man.
It'll be certainly something to see with NIL and the transfer portal. Again, like we said, Arizona State has already gotten 7 guys out of the portal. Crazy as it is to say, the portal's been open about a week. We'll see what happens here locally with Florida State, among others. Mike Huguenin does a terrific job covering the world of college football. He's done it for years, and he's always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. Mike, have a happy holidays and a happy new year, my friend, and we'll talk again in 2024.
Excellent. Thank you, sir.
Take your tailgate to the next level.
Got a plan?
Make your tailgate bigger and better with 1010XL and Southern Steer Butcher.
The biggest, man. The biggest of them all.
It's the ultimate tailgate. Enter now at 1010XL.com.
Give the gift of joy this season. Players Grill is a Toys for Tots drop-off at all 3 locations. Bring in a toy and enjoy a free appetizer because spreading cheer tastes even better. Players Grill, where the neighborhood meets and gives this holiday season.
I'm Jeff Middlecoff with Trustline Mortgage. My business partners, Alan Tyre, Bill Pappas, and Ken Rimley, have been helping first-time homebuyers with their mortgage financing all over Florida for 34 years. First-time homebuyers can get no or low down payments, anywhere from 0 to 3.5% down. As a first-time homebuyer with Trustline Mortgage, you get added benefits for doing your loan with us, like lower rates on your mortgage insurance and lower closing costs. Oh, and did I forget to mention that Trustline gives first-time homebuyers better mortgage interest rates? Here's the bottom line. Trustline Mortgage wants to help first-time homebuyers accomplish your goal of home ownership. That's why Trustline Mortgage is offering the best first-time homebuyer benefits around, period. Trustline Mortgage delivers with no and low down payments, lower closing costs, and better interest rates. Call Trustline Mortgage today at 381-LOAN. That's 381-LOAN to find out how we can help you buy your dream home. Or visit our website at trustlinemortgage.com. Trust your instincts and follow the line to Trustline Mortgage.
Certain restrictions apply. See office for details. Trustline is an equal housing opportunity. MLS number 331480.
Now is the perfect time to make sure that your roof hasn't been damaged after storm season. Schedule a complimentary roof inspection with Universal Roof and Contracting. And right now, get 15% off your roof replacement and repairs. Plus, flexible financing options are available. This offer expires December 31st and restrictions apply. Universal Roof and Contracting, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. License number CCC 057165, CBC 1258484.
UniversalRoof.com. Time now for a medical recap. A health and wellness tip from Jaguars head team physician Dr. Kevin Kaplan.
Your musculoskeletal system carries the body, meaning that it maintains the structure against gravity. If you want your joints to stay healthy and seek the simplest solution, the best answer is to lose weight. Don't forget, the more weight you put onto your joints, the more pressure and stress there is on your hips and knees. This translates to more pain if you're already having issues. Losing weight is the quickest way to alleviate joint pain and boost your joint health. Go Jags.
A breakfast deserving of a gold jacket.
This is the greatest omelet I ever tasted.
Breakfast with Boselli.
Monday mornings on The Drill.
Breakfast.
Brought to you by Epstein & Robbins DUI Defense Firm and Mr. Rooter Plumbing of Jacksonville. Breakfast provided by Chick-fil-A.
The YMCA provides after-school care programs for kindergartners through middle school at over 40 sites across the First Coast. Our programs focus on safety, health, social and emotional growth, and academic enhancement. At the Y, your child can build self-reliance, get help with schoolwork, explore new talents, and develop healthy relationships with others, all in a safe, nurturing environment. Plus, financial assistance is available. Learn more at fcymca.org.
Men suffering from ED or PE, you'll see instant results on your first visit at Prime Men's Medical Center. For a limited time, your initial consultation and first treatment are totally free. You'll even get a gift that enhances performance in the bedroom. Call 904-664-8217.
Here's Linda Beaver.
Have you heard? Beaver Toyota and Beaver Chevrolet are attempting to sell 2,000 vehicles this December. How? I've instructed my team to take all reasonable offers. We won't lose your business over price. We have thousands of cars, trucks, and SUVs on the ground and priced to sell. We guarantee the most money for your trade and the easiest car buying experience ever. I promise we ain't leaving nothing on the table. At Beaver Toyota in St. Augustine or Beaver Chevrolet in Jacksonville, we're here to wow you.
With tens of thousands of satisfied patients across America, it's no surprise QC Kinetics gets 5-star reviews.
I'm feeling on top of the world because of QC Kinetics.
I'm able to do the things that I wasn't able to do for a long time.
I can recommend them highly. I would recommend QC to anybody. QC Kinetics has changed my life.
I couldn't believe it. I honestly was skeptical, but the pain went from a 10 to a 0.
Real people with real lasting relief from joint pain.
QC Kinetics Regenerative Medicine is regenerating me.
It was super successful, and I recommend everyone seek out QC Kinetics as an alternative to surgery.
This non-surgical approach is definitely the future.
I tell as many people as possible. I am an ambassador. I love QC Kinetics.
QC Kinetics, the nation's leader in advanced regenerative medicine. No drugs, no surgery. Call QC Kinetics now for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 904-274-5522. That's 904-274-5522. 904-274-5522.
Are you ready for the ultimate happy hour experience? Look no further than Bellwether, downtown's undisputed champion of good times. It's Tuesday through Saturday from 4 to 7 p, with the exception on Friday when happy hour starts at 11 a.m. Rally the team and head over to Bellwether. The vibe is full and the food is unbeatable. Free parking after 6 p on weekdays and all weekend. Bellwether Restaurant, where great food and the best happy hour in town come together for an epic win.
Hi, this is Dave Barker. Multi-unit hair grafting is now available at IHRS and can give you 3 times more hair in one procedure over a traditional hair transplant.
Multi-unit hair grafting gave me more hair in one procedure and within my budget.
You can grow your hair back with this exclusive new procedure. Call for a free evaluation. Call IHRS 904-777-IHRS 777-IHRS 777-4477.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Let's ring up another guest on the All-Pro Roofing phone line.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville, and we are glad you are with us. The Jaguars now 8-5 after yesterday's loss in Cleveland as they set their sights on Sunday Night Football when they welcome in Lamar Jackson and the 10-3 Baltimore Ravens. With that, let me welcome in my friend Brian Sexton, Jaguars.com, always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL in Jacksonville. Brian, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Brian, we're good. Thank you for the time. And all right, last time you and I talked, the Jaguars were 8-3, coming off a huge win in Houston, and all was right with the world. And here we are 14 short days later, 8-5, and a lot of questions, Brian, but I guess, well, that's the National Football League for you.
Well, it is. You can ask the people in Philadelphia or in Kansas City today. You know, a couple weeks ago, those two teams played on Monday Night Football, and they billed it as a a preview potentially of the Super Bowl, and now both of those teams have lost back-to-back weeks. It happens in the NFL. And look, I mean, you're a missed Brandon McManus field goal from being 9-4. So I get it. The defense has some issues down the field, and you don't feel like they're playing good football. Certainly, they're not playing consistently on either side of the ball right now, and you've got all these injuries. But they're 8-5. A big home game this week, and I've been saying, look, if you win this week, you claim the AFC South. I know mathematically it won't completely be over, but you look at what's happening with the quarterback in Houston, and you see the schedule they've got in front of them, and then you see that the Colts are kind of smoke and mirrors. They got to do it with defense, put Gardner Minshew in a specific spot where he can make a throw. It's just, if the Jags come out and win on Sunday and beat the Ravens, they will put the nail in the coffin for the AFC South, and they'll own it.
Brian, a couple of things jump out to me about yesterday's game that I want to throw at you. There's a couple negatives and a couple of positives. Let's begin with the negative. All right. Calvin Ridley and Zay Jones were thrown to 27 times apiece yesterday. Their combined targets. My Wolfson High School math will tell me when only 9 of those balls are completed, that means 66% of the time the ball went in Ridley or Jones's direction, it was incomplete. How troublesome is that?
All right. Well, first of all, Wolfson High is a magnet school, so your math is pretty good. Here's where it's troubling. It's troubling to me from the Calvin Ridley perspective because on both of the interceptions, it appeared that he didn't know where he was going. It appeared as if he was out of a position. And it's no coincidence that when he played his best games with Zay Jones in the lineup, it was because he and Zay were collaborating on what was happening. It appears to me that there's some chemistry issues. I mean, it appears to everybody that there's some chemistry issues there. The other thing that you mentioned about Zay Jones, look, I mean, Zay was playing on the opposite side of the field from Ridley yesterday because Christian Kirk is not involved right now, and I think that's a big deal. You know, modern football is about getting guys, playmakers like Ridley, in space and then asking them to beat their man one-on-one. It's kind of like basketball. You got to space the field correctly, and it really hurts that you don't have Christian Kirk out there right now. I mean, he's a guy that he is so dangerous, especially on third down, that defenses had to account for him. And safeties were looking for number 7 yesterday. You saw it on that 4th down throw. They didn't have to look the other way. Didn't even pay attention to where Parker Washington was. They were worried about Zay because of the propensity for the quarterback to go at number 7 on critical third downs. And so not having not having Kirk hurts Jones and Ridley, and then Ridley hurt himself yesterday on a couple of those routes where it just appeared, and I haven't talked to Calvin, he doesn't talk until Wednesdays. I know you're in the locker room, you'll hear it as well, but it appeared that he didn't understand where he was supposed to be.
Brian Sexton, Jaguars.com. That's the negative. The positive, and it's unfortunate because the 2 losses have completely overshadowed this, Evan Ingram in 2 games is putting up numbers like Jimmy Smith used to put up. I believe he has 17 catches for 170-plus yards and 3 touchdowns. Brian, he's one of the best tight ends in football right now.
Yeah, if you go and look at the numbers on tight ends, you will find that Travis Kelce and maybe Greg Kittle are these guys that have better numbers than he does. But he's already set the Jaguars' single-season receptions by a tight end mark. And he said it last year, and he broke it yesterday. He is playing at a very, very high level, and it's a good thing because without him, I'm not sure where they'd be. They need him to open things up for Zay and for Ridley. He is such a problem. He is faster than most linebackers. He's bigger than safeties. And he's a guy with just this keen sense of the ball and where it's supposed to go. You know, he had some drops last season and then boom, had that Tennessee game in early December. And since then, he's been a complete monster for people to deal with. In the locker room yesterday after the game, it was him who had the most remorse for Christian Kirk because he understands that if Christian Kirk is on the field, he's even more dangerous because without Kirk, defenses are now going to say, we're 17, because clearly 17, outside of the red zone, deep inside the red zone, no matter where he's at on the field, he's a problem.
Yeah, there's no question about it. And, you know, Kirk is gone. Parker Washington, you mentioned him. Look, he's a 6th-round rookie who was hurt this year. I know he had the fumble yesterday. But I got to tell you, Brian, watching the game back this morning, a lot of 6th-round rookies to me would have tucked tail and said, you know, today's not my day after that fumble. That catch Parker Washington made for that touchdown, that's 2 weeks in a row. He's made big boy catches for touchdowns. They might have found something with Parker Washington.
Well, I think they did. Look, those are the kinds of catches that, truthfully, Christian Kirk makes. But let me give you a completely different dimension. Most people haven't paid attention to it. So you say he's replacing a Pro Bowl caliber receiver in Christian Kirk. At the same time, he's replacing a Pro Bowl caliber return man in Jamal Agnew. he is not doing one big job for a sixth-round rookie who was hurt. He is doing two. And yesterday he gave you a big 11-yard return, and he gave you one, 22, 23 yards as well. He's a good young player. And, yeah, he fumbled the punt. He had to fall on it against the Bengals, and he had to fumble yesterday because he's trying to do too much, trying to make a move to the outside and pick up a first down. But he's a really good, promising young player. And I mean to tell you, it's hard enough to throw a kid in there and say, hey, you got to be like 13. But to say you got to be like him and Agnew, it's a lot. And he's doing a pretty decent job at it.
Couple of more for Brian Sexton of Jaguars.com. To me, the Parker Washington equivalent on the defense is Antonio Johnson. I'm at the point now, Brian, where I want to see more Antonio Johnson on the field.
Well, I think you're going to. Doug Peterson said in his news conference earlier today that Andre Cisco is dealing with a groin, and those tend to be like hamstrings. They can linger. So I don't know that you're going to see him this week. Obviously, we're early, and that can change. Johnson's a guy that they drafted, knowing there's only one more year on Rayshon Jenkins' contract, and that Rayshon is going to get to the other side of 30 here. He was drafted to be on the field with Andre Cisco. I mean, that's your safety tandem going forward. And you saw him on that blitz. And, I don't know whether people realize he's 6'3", and he's a 200-pound guy who plays big and long. And he's trying to figure it out. He's missed a bunch of time with a hamstring injury that he suffered in training camp, but he's starting to make his presence felt. Had a couple of passes where he was in on it, had a couple of big plays yesterday that weren't quite as big as the sack strip, but still in their own right. At the moment he made them, the Jaguars defense really needed them. You're going to see more from him, and I think as you see more from him, you're going to understand the vision for what that safety tandem should look like going forward.
And, Brian, look, I'm never going to be confused for being the most positive guy when it comes to the Jaguars. Goodness knows I get a lot of grief from people.
I've got that role.
Yeah, exactly.
I've got that role covered, yeah.
You get a lot of grief saying you're too negative, this, that, and the other. But I got to tell you, in watching the game back yesterday or this morning and even back to last week against Cincy, 2 losses, and that sucks, and there's no sugarcoating that. But without Kirk, Kirk played one play of the last 2 games. The offense has scored 58 points. And yesterday, they turned it over 4 times. They left Cleveland tight ends wide open where they could fair catch touchdowns. The team played awful, and yet it's 31-27 against a Browns team that was 5-1 at home going into yesterday's game. Point being,
I think you're going,
they did not. They lost, but there is still things to be positive about.
I was going to say, I think you're going down the right road here. Just consider for a moment that they were playing with a quarterback that none of us thought was going to play. They've got no practice time whatsoever, who had the backup to the backup to the backup, right? Walker Little is the backup, and 2 levels down the depth chart, you had Blake Hance trying to block all-world Myles Garrett, and he didn't do a bad job. Plus, you had Kirk, who was not in the game. Let me tell you something. For them yesterday to make it a 4-point game, having turned the ball over 4 times, that says something about the way that this team is coached and plays. They have a lot of ground to make up. They had a lot of mental mistakes. They shot themselves in the foot over and over and over. But it is not a stretch to say that if they only turned the ball over twice yesterday, they might win with all those injured players on the sidelines and a lot of backups out there. There's a lot of reason to think that this team still has an opportunity to make some noise in the postseason. 4 games remain. I said if you win this one on Sunday, you're going to have a home playoff game. It's tough right now because you have back-to-back losses. But if you just take a deep breath and look at some of the things from a big macro perspective, which, to be completely honest with you, it's tough to ask fans to do. It's tough to ask them to see all the little things week in and week out. But if people can have a big picture perspective on it, there are some reasons to think that they can get this thing going. In fact, I just asked Doug, because he said yesterday in Cleveland in his postgame, we're not playing our best football at a time of the year where you want to be playing your best football. And my question was, is there enough time? With 4 games left, can you get to a place where you're playing good enough football to make some noise? He said, absolutely. But we can't hurt ourselves with the mental mistakes, the penalties, and the turnovers that we have the last couple of weeks.
And I look at the AFC as a whole, and I know a lot of media markets are probably saying the same thing we are, and that's fine. There's 11 teams that are 7-6 or better right now in the AFC. 4 of those teams aren't even going to make it. And when you look at the teams that will make it, you talk about a dominant team. Well, probably the most dominant is the team coming in here on Sunday in Baltimore, and yet they were an eyelash away from losing at home to a middle-of-the-pack NFC team in the Rams yesterday. So I think getting in, Brian, anything can happen because Kansas City is not Kansas City anymore. Miami is good, but anytime they play a team above 500, they get killed. Baltimore is good, but they have flaws. And then I think everybody else is right there in the middle.
Look, the difference between, the Bills and the Bengals, those 7-6 teams, and the top are a couple of injured players. That's it. I don't think anybody really separates themselves in the AFC. There are dominant players, but there isn't a dominant team. I think the Jaguars are right where they belong, right squarely in the middle of this entire thing. They're not an elite team. At their best, they approach that, but they're not there. They've got a ways to go on the back end of the defense where they're injured and they're giving up too many yards, too many big plays, too many broken plays. A couple of those touchdowns yesterday were just ridiculous. Guys being out of position or not even seeing where they were supposed to be in the case of Njoku's 2 touchdowns and David Bell's. They got to clean some things up. But are they squarely where they belong? Yeah. I think maybe they'd be a game better. Maybe they'd be 9-4 and a little bit more cushion. But they're a team with some injuries. They're a team with some flaws. And as you just mentioned, if you get there, if you get a game that matches up with you at home, well, all right, game on. The 96 Jaguars. And I know people are going, there's the old man again, going back to 96. But they were 4-7. And they got hot. They were playing good football in December, and then they got some matchups that worked for them. They were able to take advantage of and got to the AFC Championship game. Could this team? Yeah, absolutely. Will they? Stay tuned.
Final moments, Brian Sexton, Jaguars.com. I imagine Indianapolis and Houston are both kicking themselves. The Jaguars gave them an opening yesterday they were not able to take advantage of. Jaguars still the overwhelming favorite in the division, Brian. That, to me, is the goal, right? Expectations change as the season goes on. To me, the next month is all about winning the division and then letting the chips fall where they may. And that brings me to Baltimore. You and I sat here 14 days ago talking about the national TVs are back. Cincinnati, Monday Night Football, another opportunity, and they lost again. That's San Francisco, KC, and Cincinnati that have all come in here in a primetime spotlight, if you will, and the Jaguars underperformed. Is there any reason to believe that things will be different on Sunday night?
Sure. I mean, I'm the optimist. You get home, you get Walker Little back, perhaps. You get some guys back into the lineup. You get a home crowd that's all fired up and the quarterback who's a little bit more mobile, and they spend the week with Calvin Ridley making sure he's on the right page. All of a sudden, perhaps maybe you get the running game started. I know all these things are if, but that's week to week in the NFL. If things work out, if you have a good week on the practice field. And let's be honest, they didn't last week. They didn't have the quarterback on the practice field last week. And so some of those errant passes were, the ankle and the lack of precision based on practice. So if you get some of these things back, yeah, there's a reason to believe that they can step out on the field. And plus, you said it yourself, the Rams, who are middle of the pack, 7-6 team now, go in there and they got them pushed right to the ropes. Here's where the Ravens have an advantage over everybody. Their pass rush is fierce. Their pass rush is far enough. They have more than 50 sacks with 4 games to play. They look fearsome, and you've got an offensive line that is mismatched right now. Just kind of pieced together. That looks to be a real problem. But if the Jaguars get takeaways, right, like they did, and give short field scoring opportunities, sure, there's no reason to think they can't win.
Brian Sexton, Jaguars.com. Brian, tell them what's coming up on Jaguars.com heading into the Baltimore game on Sunday.
Jaguars AM, Jags Wired, happy hour. It's full tilt ahead. This sounds like I'm bragging, but we put a lot of content out there and a lot of time. The Hunt is coming out again with a new episode shortly. I wish I knew the date off the top of my head. I should have looked that up. I will next time. There are a lot of cameras and a lot of microphones in this building, and Doug Peterson is very, very receptive to us telling the inside story of the team, and we do that, I think, as well as any team in the league. So if you want to know the story from a first-person perspective, the Hunt does it as well as anyone in the league.
Brian, I know you're very busy on Mondays, man. Thank you for taking time out. We certainly appreciate it. Have a happy holidays, and we'll talk again soon.
You got it.
Now, today's takeaways, brought to you by Key Buick GMC, where our family dealership has been helping families buy vehicles for over 50 years.
And thank you to Brian Sexton, Jaguars.com, for joining us here on Hacker After Dark. Again, the Jaguars and the Ravens, Sunday night. You'll hear it right here on 1010XL. My big takeaways of the evening. Well, there is basically one. It's what we just mentioned. The Ravens at the Jaguars. I remember when home field meant something here in Jacksonville. It has not meant anything this year. The Jaguars are 2-4. Their 2 wins came against Indianapolis and Tennessee. Nice division wins. But when you've played 6 home games and you've lost 66% of them, that is a problem. If you want to be considered an elite team, you've got to take care of home field. And the Jaguars simply have not done that. Embarrassing losses to Houston and San Francisco. Offense doesn't score a touchdown against Kansas City. And then the last home game against Cincinnati, Jake Browning comes in here and goes 32 of 37 for 350 plus. It has been awful at home. Can the Jaguars finally do something about that on Sunday night? Well, they need to, because if you're not going to protect home field any better than they've protected it this year, you're not going to do a whole lot in the NFL postseason, even with an AFC South division championship. Well, that'll just about wrap it up for what has been a very busy Thursday night edition of Hacker After Dark. We certainly appreciate you guys hanging out with us here on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM. We have a ton of people to thank. Again, Brian Sexton, Jaguars.com. Thank you to Mike Huguenin. I call him the college football encyclopedia. He's covered college football for years. We always appreciate his perspective with us here on Hacker After Dark. Back in hour number 1, thank you to Jared Bailey of the USA Today. Always enjoy talking Jaguars, AFC South, and more with Jared Bailey. And Leon Searcy. You hear him every day on Primetime, former Pro Bowl offensive tackle for the Jacksonville Jaguars. He's with us every week here on Hacker After Dark. We'll be back tomorrow night on a Friday to close out the week here on 1010XL beginning at 8 o'clock, and we do hope that you join us then. Dylan Denmark was your producer tonight. Dylan, great job as always. I'm the Hacker, Ryan Green. And again, Jacksonville, thank you for spending part of your Thursday evening with us right here on Hacker After Dark on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM.
If you're anything like your boy, emotions run hot and cold during the Jags game. I'm ET, and I'll give you my instant reactions right after the game on all 1010XL social media channels, powered by Brackish Vodka.
Looking for the perfect stocking stuffer? How about the Blue Crab Crab House? Right now, buy a $50 gift card, you get $15 free. $50 gives you an additional $15. Also sign up. The private dining room is available for you. Call them 260-CRAB for all the details.